Hey, hello everybody. I'm Joe Pometto, Joe the lawyer. Welcome to my first live stream, which I did not televise and I did not telecast very well. But what I'm going to do is once a week, 8:30 on Wednesdays, I am going to go live. And what I will do is I will take legal questions. I will give you legal info. Your questions can be something about family law, something about criminal law, something about the Supreme Court, constitutional law, hello, cat slave, whatever it is that you want to talk about in regards to the law. I'm Joe the lawyer. I'm here to talk to you and answer your questions. There's a lot going on with the law. We're going to have a new Supreme Court nomination. I can talk about that. Or if you got a sticky legal situation and you just want to get some legal information, nothing I give here is actual legal advice. You need to contact an attorney to talk to them about your issue specifically. But what I can do is share with you some legal information, give you tidbits of things that you can learn that you need to know. So if you got legal questions and you want to discuss, hop on in. Okay, I will take questions, or I will just, I'll sit here and talk about the issues that I want to talk about for half an hour. But this is going to happen every Wednesday from 8 to 8:30. Okay, we're going to do Common Sense Academy. Hello, Kate. Welcome. Everybody can stalk me. 8 to 8:30. I got my other channel where I talk about sovereign citizens and some other topics. This channel is dedicated solely to law. My name is Joe Pometto, Joe the lawyer. I'm a practicing attorney in Pittsburgh, PA. Okay, I primarily do criminal defense. I also do personal injury. I do family law. I do landlord tenant. I file lawsuits in federal court, federal litigation, anything in the law. I've done appeals, anything in the law you want to talk to me about, I can do it. Okay, legal question. If a store has a sign up reading, no shirt, no shoes, no service, can you go in without wearing pants? Buongiorno, buongiorno, Rejan, buongiorno. Cat slave, the answer to that is yes, you can go into the store without any pants. Now, can they throw you out of the store and or have you arrested? Yes, the question to that is also yes. So anybody joining me for Joe the lawyer, if you got something to say, something to do, you want to ask me a legal question, or I'll just talk about legal topics, come on in, join the show. This is my first episode, so it's going to start off, maybe we're going to start off slow, but we're going to build up momentum over the coming weeks and months. Let's talk about the Supreme Court a little bit. Let's talk about the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court recently, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg tragically died. May she rest in peace. And, there's a whole bunch of hullabaloo because Donald Trump and the Republicans want to put in a Supreme Court justice right before the election. Okay, they want to try to get a justice confirmed in just about, 45 days or so. Back in, I believe it was 2015 and 2016, Justice Antonin Scalia died. Antonin Scalia was a conservative justice. Ruth Bader Ginsburg this time was a liberal justice. He died, and the president at the time, Obama, and the Democrats tried to nominate a justice to the Supreme Court, and the Republicans blocked it. They blocked it. They said, no, no, no. And one of the things that Donald Trump is doing here, and maybe Obama did it a little bit, he only appointed 2 Supreme Court justices. Let's take a sip here. He only put up 2 Supreme Court justices. Was they're picking justices that are very young. Picking justices that are very young so that they'll be on the court longer because it's a lifetime appointment. So I believe the front runner for Donald Trump, Amy Barrett Coney, is 52 years old. So she could potentially be, if she lives into her 80s, and that's highly, that's very normal for a female. There's, it's 30 some years on the court, 30 some years on the Supreme Court. And that's a pretty long time. That's a pretty long time. So here's the thing. These nominations, because it's a lifetime appointment, these nominations, okay, tend to be very, very very just the high pressure, the stakes, high stakes, right? The stakes are so high on these because the appointment is lifetime. You're putting someone on the court who's going to be there 30 some years. Those are tremendous stakes. So when this happens, it's a huge, huge deal. Well, something that could be done, this would take a constitutional amendment, but something could be done is an age limit. Okay, the Congress and the president, the Senate, the House of Representatives could place an age limit on the Supreme Court justices. This would reduce the stakes. This would reduce the stakes, okay? Because most justices, most presidents aren't going to know. I mean, even though they've been nominating them young, they're still getting nominated when they're in their 50s, okay? I don't believe, at least not in the modern era, that any Supreme Court justice was nominated in their 40s. There certainly hasn't been anyone in their 30s, okay? Even in their 50s, and that's considered young. A lot of them are nominated late 50s, 60s, okay? Amy Barraconi's 52, 25, 52, same thing, yeah, right. 52 years old. So if you made the age limit, let's say you made the age limit 80, let's say you made it 75, it would reduce the stakes, okay? Because it wouldn't be this forever thing. I mean, some of these justices live to be 100 or something, and they just can't leave. They can't be removed. So if you make the age limit, let's say, even if you make it 80, it reduces the stakes so that these nominations are not as big a deal. They put a lot of pressure on the country, on the American public. They're highly charged political events. And it's just with what America has been through, especially this year. I mean, it's unbelievable, right? With the global pandemic, the coronavirus, then George Floyd, and the protests and the rioting, and then the Supreme Court justice dies. Now we're going to have a nomination battle. It's like, when does it end? When can we have some peace? When can we have some peace? So it's just an interesting thought. I think it'd be a good thing for the country overall to limit it to, 75, 77. Even if they started by making it 80, I believe that would be a good thing. I mean, because let's face it as well, a lot of people are going to, not everybody, maybe not even most people, but a lot of people, their mind is going to start to degenerate a little when they get into their 80s. That's just a fact. So thank you, Kate. You can stalk everybody. If you want to stalk me here, you can. Or a time limit like a president's 4 years or 8 at max. So let's do 20 years. Exactly, Rajon, exactly. 20 years, shoot. Even a 25-year limit would help reduce the stakes so that these nominations are not they're so politically charged, right? And it doesn't matter which side it comes from necessarily. Like when there's a Democratic president and they're going to do a liberal justice, the right is up in arms about everything. And the same is true on the other side. It's just crazy. So I propose an age limit on Supreme Court justices, or a time limit, like Rajon said. Cat Slave, you're 64 and you're beginning to forget words. I'm 38 and I forget words. You know what I mean? So that's just a thought that I had, that I wanted to share here on this video. Yeah, it would take a constitutional amendment, and I'm not saying that's going to happen anytime soon, because you would need a lot of cooperation on both sides of the aisle, but maybe someday, and maybe it's something that we should seriously consider. In the supposed SCOTUS 10 rule. New Jersey diver, I'm not sure what the 10 rule is. Trump should nominate you. Well, I will tell you, if he nominated me, I would certainly accept the nomination. I don't know if I would get confirmed, but I would accept the nomination. What is the real purpose of the Black's Law Dictionary? That's a good question, Rajon. Or a constitutional convention, New Jersey diver. Purpose of Black's Law Dictionary is the law. I've talked about this before. It's extremely boring, but I enjoy talking about it. And I was asked, you can sort of trace the roots This is crazy. You can trace the roots of American law at least back to the year 1066. And in the year 10, and you can go back further, because if you really want to go back, you're going to get into Roman law and Greek law, right? Like the Greeks were one of the early advanced civilizations, and they established law, and then the Romans sort of adopted it, and the Romans sort of spread Greek culture really throughout the Mediterranean world in Europe. And then, you know, the Roman Empire is also the reason that Europe is Christian for the most part. Anyway, 1066 comes around, and I don't know how many people know this, but most people know that the Normans invaded England. Well, the Normans were French-speaking people. The funny thing about the Normans is they were actually Vikings who settled in Normandy. So the Vikings were raiding in the 800s, 700, 800s, northern France, and they made a deal with some of the French lords to get a piece of land to basically get Normandy. So the Normans were like this French Nordic mixture of people who started speaking French, and then William the Conqueror, and they were fierce warriors and had a very great organized military. And in 1066, boom, they invade England. And England prior to 1066 was obviously speaking English. And in 1066, these Norman lords come in, and boom, they start speaking French. And so French becomes the language of the nobles, the language of the king, the language of the lords, the aristocracy in England. And English is the language of the lay people. Now, what one of the consequences was French was the language of the law. French was the language of the courts for the next several hundred years. Slowly, French faded out in England, even amongst the noble class. But for hundreds of years, the King of England often didn't even speak English. Their first language was French, so they speak French. Anyway, hundreds of years go by, and they begin, English sort of overtakes as the language of the aristocracy again, but the legal system was left with this remnant of all these French words. And then something I said before was prior to 1066, the Roman Empire also ruled England for hundreds and hundreds of years. And so Latin had a big influence. So, English has been, but especially the language of law. I don't know about like the standard English language, but the language of law in England was first influenced by Latin and later influenced by French. So what is the purpose of Black's Law Dictionary? Well, all these words in the law are French words or Latin words, and a lot of it's not plain English, and we hear this all the time. Lawyers don't speak like they're in plain English. So law basically has its own language, right? It has its own language, and the purpose of Black's Law Dictionary is to teach up-and-coming lawyers the language of law. That's it. So that you can know the definitions of certain words. Now, Black's Law Dictionary is not the law. It's not the law. But it does explain the meaning of words that are used in the law. But you can't take Black's Law Dictionary as law. Now, if you read a statute or you read a court opinion and you come across a word like Ernie just said, voir dire, oyez, etc., inter alia, all these words that we use, and you don't know it, you can look the Black's Law Dictionary, get the definition, put it in context in the full sentence, and boom, you understand. So that's the purpose. That's the main purpose. And a lot of it is just terms like color of law. Under the color of law, you'll find a definition for that in Black's Law. It's not the law, but it helps you understand the law. It gives you a definition for those Latin words. It gives you a definition for those French words, and it gives you a definition for English phrases which you may not be familiar with. Therefore, you don't know the legal meaning of it. There are also just plain old English words. If I prepared today, I could have pulled some out, but just plain old English words that have different meanings when used in the context of law. That is what Black's Law Dictionary is for. Cheers. There is a legal term for sit down and shut up, and it's like this: sit down and shut up. Or it's like this. If you don't shut up, you will go to jail. You will be taken into custody. We've seen it. You guys seen it on my other channel and all those videos. So yes, trial by combat is making a comeback. One of my favorite stories that I saw was a husband in a family court, and he was representing himself pro se, and in a legal filing, he challenged his wife to trial by combat. He may have gotten sanctioned or punished for that, but boy, was it hilarious. It was hilarious. I think a lot of professions. Da, 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 ba, 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 boom, 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 boom. Okay, see Carl go. Thank you very much. All right, sorry about that, guys. I just had to send that real quick. Damn, you sing bad. My wife said, I'm whistling. I'm not singing. I'm whistling. Well, yeah, I mean, trial by combat, we used to have it. You used to be able to you used to be able to challenge someone to a duel. You used to be able to challenge someone to a duel. Who here watches It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Some of my favorite clips of all time is when Charlie in Always Sunny goes up against the lawyer. It is freaking hilarious. And he challenges this lawyer to a duel, and the lawyer has a gun. He's got a gun in his desk, and he pulls out a revolver. And the lawyer accepts the duel and then tells Charlie that he's now legally bound to duel him. I freaking love it, man. I love it. Abraham Lincoln was once challenged to a duel by another lawyer who was significantly shorter. As the challenged party, Lincoln had the choice of weapons. He suggested sledgehammers and 6 feet of water. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, that is pretty darn good and hilarious. So trial by combat, it can make a comeback. You know, I was just talking to a law clerk, and I was talking about some of the stunts that attorneys pull, right? And a common stunt has to do with depositions, all right? And the thing about depositions is let's talk about, I'm just talk about the legal profession. So somebody's got a legal question. Some lawyers thrive on the adversarial nature of law, right? And the funny thing about it is it's like attacking your opponent. Law is like warfare through paper. Okay. I mean, I'm not comparing it to people who actually have to put their bodies and their lives at risk. Okay. But it's like, it's a competition, right? Through paper. And some lawyers thrive on the adversarial nature of it. So they'll pull stunts like they'll insist that a deposition be done at their office in this way, in this room, at this time. And if the other party shows up late, this happened one time, the other party shows up late, and the attorneys just get up and we're not having it, you're late, it's over, leave, and kicks them out of the office. So then later on, this lawyer goes to their office to do a deposition, and these attorneys pull the same thing, and they're both calling the judge on the phone, okay? The thing with a deposition is where an attorney is going to take testimony from someone under oath. However, they're not in a courtroom and they're not in the presence of a judge. That's the thing with depositions, is the judges aren't there. So attorneys can get crazy. So they pull all kinds of stunts. And I've seen two lawyers almost come to blows over depositions. It's hilarious because you can get into arguments, no matter where you are, can escalate into something personal or something more than what it should or is meant to be. And so arguments between lawyers because and it escalates, and one person takes it personally, the other person takes it personally. And I've seen two lawyers almost want to fight right there in the hotel conference room where we were deposing a person who had been diagnosed with cancer from asbestos. I mean, it's just like, come on, come on. So lawyers pull, and that's not trial by combat, but that's sort of close, right? That, I don't know, that's what you get. But I've heard stories of lawyers fighting at depositions. It's not too uncommon. And of course, in the courtroom, people can become lunatics. People can become lunatics. I was not singing, I was whistling. And how are you going to rag on me for my whistling? Man, that's harsh. That is harsh. Woo. What about the guy in Pasadena who barricaded himself? SWAT showed up. Sovereign citizen was unarmed. I did not see that, Joe Donho. I did not see that. Maybe I did, but I forgot about it. Yeah, but you're a pit bull attorney. Yeah, I fight, Chief. Here's my thing. I'm extremely professional, but if you take a stab at me, like, I'm gonna take a stab back. Like, I'm more of a counterpuncher. If somebody is professional, and you can be tough attorney, you can be a tough attorney and still be professional and polite. And that is my default setting. But if a lawyer insults me, lowers themselves, I'm coming back. That's all I'm saying. I'm coming back. I mean, that's my policy, is to counterpunch. It's not to throw the first punch. I'm not saying I never have, but it's not to throw the first punch. It's to counterpunch. And that's my thing. I'm not fighting. I'm counterpunching. I'm not attacking anybody. It's self-defense. Whistling is unconstitutional in my own personal legal system. Well, Jonathan, I'm sure that's true in the tribal courts of the sovereign citizen. Do you consider as auditors and cop watchers sovereign citizens? This is the non-sovereign citizen channel. I know you all came here to talk to me, and that's my topic. I'm not talking about the sovereign citizens here, okay? You can drop a few jokes, but I'm not taking those questions. I want to take questions about the law, legal topics. You want to talk about the Supreme Court. You want to talk about lawyers in the news or general legal questions. Bring it on, okay? Bring it on. Anybody wants to talk about that stuff, we can do that. Let me see. I have to sip here. I'll tell you another thing they didn't teach me in law school. I want you on retainer as my attorney. Chief, I just hope you never need an attorney, sir. You will never need an attorney, but if you do, I got your back. You don't even need to drop a retainer for me, brother. Honestly, you don't. I got your back. You call me and we'll work it out. Crazy thing about being, well, this is true when you have your own firm, right? The crazy thing about having your own practice is, it's a business and it's a law practice, business and law. And when you're in law school, they don't teach you anything about the business side of it. Okay, you take a professional ethics course, which touches on it here and there, but nothing about the business side of it. And I had no idea that at a certain point in my law practice, my entire day was going to be sitting at my desk answering phone calls. Just nonstop phone calls. Boom, 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 boom. Like for client retention. Like today, I sat in my office and I took phone calls, and I'd have 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there in between phone calls. It was crazy. I mean, that's the business side of things. And in a strange way, the business side of things comes first, because if my law practice is not functional as a business, then I'm not helping anybody. Okay. And the more successful my law practice is as a business, the more I can help people. These large firms, they can do all this pro se work because they're bringing in millions of dollars. Okay. I'm not doing that, but they have the capacity to help a lot of people for free. But I'm not there yet. I am not there. And that's what I tell people. What you do a lot of pro se work? Yeah, I do pro se work. It's called my clients that don't pay. Cheers. Is that a lot of pressure? Public forum doctrine. Have you ever had a case that the issue could be the death penalty? No, I have not, because You actually have to be certified to do a death penalty case, and I am not death penalty certified. However, that doesn't mean that that won't be an option someday. It's something I may do someday. I'd like to do some more really high profile trials, like homicide type stuff, before I get like death penalty certification, but maybe someday. Do you specialize in tree law? Well, I specialize in bird law, Zephiel, but if by tree law you mean marijuana, yes, I do. I help all kinds of clients who get marijuana charges. Okay. Do you think they should replace RGB right away? That would be legal. Yeah, it would certainly be legal. The president can nominate a justice. As soon as a seat's open, the president has the power to nominate a justice. And the strange thing, I don't know if it's strange, but this is the Senate. Look, the Senate is, in my opinion, by far much more powerful than the House. Not in all respects. The House has the power of the purse. But anyway, the thing about the Senate is there are only 100 senators. So you're dealing with 100 individuals instead of the House of Representatives, like 500, some of them. Okay, 100 individuals. The Senate only confirms a Supreme Court justice. So Donald Trump could nominate someone, and this, because the Senate has a Republican majority, they are going to be able to get that person confirmed. And I believe they likely will before the election. Now, several years ago, when Obama was in office, the Republican Senate was sort of like holding up a lot of Obama's judges through the filibuster. And the filibuster is a legislative mechanism that would allow an individual or a group of senators to stop action by the majority, okay, with a filibuster. The Democratic Senate at the time removed the ability of the Senate to filibuster. So when they removed the filibuster, they opened the door for something like this. What it means is that now the Senate is going to operate to a large degree like the House of Representatives. And what that means, in the House of Representatives, the majority rules. So the minority in the House of Representatives is almost meaningless. So, for instance, right now the Democrats have a large majority in the House of Representatives. It means they can roll over the Republicans in the House. Well, the Republicans can do the same thing to the Democrats in the Senate. Now, they don't have such a large majority, but the only thing the Democrats can really do is try to peel away some of those Republican senators. And they're not going to repeal away enough. Trump's going to nominate a candidate, and the candidate's going to get confirmed. And in a way, it may be better for the country, because if there is a Supreme Court challenge for the election, at least we'll have 9 justices who can make a decisive decision for any such legal challenge. A 4-4 could be very crazy, and I talked about that in one of my prior videos. Can you talk about any crazy cases you've taken you can tell us without breaching attorney-client privilege? Well, I'm only going for a few more minutes right now, Screwball, but what I'm going to tell you is I'm going to make a note of that, and I'm going to think of a few that I can talk about, and I'm going to do that probably just in a recorded episode, okay? Recorded episode where I'm going to go through some of my own personal cases. Yeah, I've had some unbelievable cases, some cases that would be considered comical, and I can talk about them in a way that would not breach privilege. So I'll do that later on. No, tree law is like bird law. Yeah, I know bird law. I have a bird brain, but bird law is unknown to me. It's the folks that call lawyers wanting legal advice on cutting down trees. Oh my, Zephiel, yes. I have gotten many calls on trees, many calls on trees. I actually have. And at one point I researched it and I knew it pretty well, but now I forget. Most of it. But I believe, if you have a tree on your property that is infringing on someone else's property, it's probably a good idea to get it cut. If it's not infringing, then that other person's not going to be able to do anything. But you got to bring it into court. You got to take it into court. How does that happen? Second chair, a test. Oh, yes. Crazy case stories, please. They will come, Kate. They will come. Yeah, well, no. Death case certified, I do believe you have to have a certain number of jury trials under your belt. And you may even have to do some homicides. So you have to build the resume, which I don't necessarily have yet, but I would get to. I'm currently doing research into NDAs for a business idea. Where should I start? Hire a lawyer, Kevin. I do NDAs. I know the law in Pennsylvania, but it's fairly complex. I mean, most NDAs, you want to use the right language. They are going to be upheld. Most of them are, but you got to use the right language. Okay, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Joe the Lawyer. Next time, do some more advertising. Bring some people in. I want some calls in. We're going to answer legal questions. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed your time with Joe the Lawyer. Like, comment, and share. Like, comment, and share on the channel itself. Joe the Lawyer out. Next time, I will take your legal questions. Bye-bye, everyone. See you later, Chief.